focus on hitting your goals in every area of your business. Remember, the universe rewards the bold. A leader has to take the risks. Welcome to the Wealth on the Beach podcast. My name is Daniel Alonzo, and I am your host. We got the amazing Elena Mitchell on with us today. She is a passionate business owner and brand designer specializing in the hospitality industry. She has successfully created multi-million-dollar hospitality brands with strategic branding and social media marketing, and is reminding the world that true branding starts with a feeling that leads to an experience. With a passion to inspire others, Elena recently launched the Passion and Persistence podcast, discussing business tips and tricks, self-work, and spirituality to remind dreamers around the world that with passion and persistence, anything is possible. Welcome, Elena Mitchell. Thank you for being on with me today. How you doing?
I am doing so good. I'm so excited to be here, Daniel. Thank you for having me.
Quick question, why did you name it Passion and Persistence?
I feel like those two terms have really driven me in life. Passion is what drives all of us. We all have to have a why. And then that persistence is key to get to where you want to go. So that is the winning recipe, in my opinion.
And so has it been a pretty fun experience so far? I know you're doing well. You're getting a lot of great guests on right now. How's that going?
It is so amazing. Being able to hear people's stories and get different perspectives is what it's all about, and inspiring people along the way. So it's been so cool.
And so you are, was it scary at all in the beginning? Because I know that there are people that are trying to start podcasts and they're trying to go on social media and they're trying to get, build their brand and everything. Is it scary in the beginning?
Oh, so scary. Everybody fears failure, and the judgment of others too. People are going to look at you a certain way and start to pick you apart when you try to do something different or new. So definitely super, super scary. But I've always been the type to push myself through fear, and that is how you learn. It's getting past that fear. And I have been learning amazing things since I started it, and I hope to continue learning along the way. So that's what it's all about for me. It's just learning in the process behind it.
Sweet, sweet. All right. So tell me about your story, man. Where were you born?
Yes.
Where are you
so
from?
I was born in Akron, Ohio, little old Akron. And I was raised in South Florida. We moved around a lot when I was little into different states, but we ultimately settled in South Florida.
What did your parents do, and why did you move around so much?
So I come from a really, I guess you could say, poor family. And my parents were never really educated on wealth and finances and how to build a business properly. So they struggled a lot, and they had a lot of kids. So watching that struggle and seeing us getting evicted constantly because they weren't able to understand finances and wealth really gave me that fire inside to try to do better.
How many kids, siblings?
So there were 5 of us all together.
Wow. So you were 5 of you, like the Brady Bunch, running around the country trying to figure out crap. What kind of businesses were they in?
So my dad was a chef, but he had a heart attack and ended up getting on disability and just pretty much lived the rest of his life on disability.
Wow. And how about your mom? What did she do other than corral 5 kids?
She was a pastry chef, so they were kind of a chef duo until my dad got sick, and then my mom ended up getting sick as well with cancer, and she passed away. So they kind of had a lot to struggle with, and I'm just here to continue that legacy and get to that next level for the family.
Well, you seem like you have taken on the parent role pretty good, because I see you on social media with your son all the time. Tell me about your son. What's he like?
Oh, my son is a ball of energy for sure. He's a little replica of me when I was little. I was nonstop, constantly wanted to do something and learn something, and he is just like that. I always used to tell my mom when I was little, I'm bored, I want to be busy constantly. And now I see my son and I'm like, why was I like that when I was little?
So it's all coming around to get you, man.
Yes.
So go ahead.
It's been really cool having that experience to have someone else to work for. You know what I mean? To build all this for. I don't think if it was just me in life without my son, I don't think I'd work as hard or have that drive behind what I'm doing.
Is that kind of why you're so driven though? If you think about it, I mean, you're driven for your son, obviously, but you're also driven because you came from this family that, you know, struggled financially, and you're like going, I don't want that shit, right? I mean, is that kind of like, does that drive you every day? You're like, I do not want to live like that. Does that drive
Oh,
you?
absolutely. Absolutely. And, you know, I never grew up around people with money, so I never knew that was out there. I think that environment is really key. And then social media came along and I started seeing all these people with these amazing stories, chasing all these awesome goals. And I'm like, wow, there are people out there that get it. I'm not the only one that has these crazy dreams. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
So good kid, bad kid. What
I
were
was
you?
a really, really good kid until high school. So I was, sorry about the noise back there, someone just walked in. So I was homeschooled most of my life because we moved around a lot. My father wasn't raised in the typical American traditional family, so he had a lot of weird customs. So anyways, I was homeschooled most of my life, and I strived really hard to always be good and perform really well to try to wow people. And then I hit high school. We went into real, actual public school, and I kind of went wild in high school.
So you became the wild child then.
Absolutely. Yes.
All
Yes.
right.
Yes.
So what's wild? What does wild mean?
I was a fighter. As crazy as that sounds, I picked a lot of fights with people, but more or less I would defend a lot of my friends. I was picked on a lot. So when I would see my friends getting picked on, I would be like, you're not going to say that to my friend. And I went to a really rough school, so people were really surprised that I was so feisty. So I had that title above my head most of high school is Don't Mess with Elena.
Wow, don't mess with Elena. So I heard something like you were in like boxing, or you were like WW or whatever, like mixed martial arts or something like that. MMA. There we go. That's what I was thinking about.
Yeah, MMA. So I did a little kickboxing in high school, and then I got an opportunity to do MMA just through the modeling world. It wasn't anything I knew about. It was just, hey, we need a pretty girl to do MMA. And I ended up learning some really cool things, and I was able to use that for other struggles in life.
So you were a fighter, and that, I mean, I was a fighter too. So I mean, I got in a lot of fights in high school, believe it or not. Growing up, I was always defending myself. I never picked a fight with anybody. I was never that person that went over there and bullied somebody or tried to fight somebody just to fight. It was just that I was a smaller guy. I'm not 6'3" or anything, you know. So the big guys, they would always feel like they could pick on me because I was smaller. But my grandfather was a boxer. He was actually a professional boxer. And so I learned a lot about boxing and fighting growing up. And so
Wow.
by the time I was in 5th grade and 6th grade and 7th grade and 8th grade and all, you know, and then through high school, anybody that messed with me, I was always able to defend myself at least. So I'm proud of that. Do you kind of feel the same way? It's good to have that knowledge, right?
Yes, and it's just a testament to the fact that we're not going to go down without swinging. And I feel like using that passion in business too has helped me a lot. I'm a fighter in all aspects of the word.
You'll fight for your clients, huh? You'll fight for them, right?
Oh, absolutely. My clients are like my family. I feel like their business is my business.
That's a great attitude, man. So confident, right? I mean, everybody, there are people out there right now that are saying, man, she's so confident. She's such a winner. I mean, tell me about like the way you used to be. Tell me, like, have you always been this confident in business?
No.
And okay, so tell me about how that was.
So I was, because I was homeschooled most of my life, I had no social skills. I also was a super awkward, super skinny, dorky little kid with really messed up teeth, and just picked on constantly. So I had no self-esteem. I used to walk in a room, look at the ground, cover my mouth when I would talk, could not look at people in the eye. And I got picked on a lot for that. And it took years of being picked on and belittled to finally stand up for myself and say, listen, this isn't just who I am. I can be so much more. And I started modeling to kind of break out of that shell. Braces helped a lot, I will say that. So I got the braces off, and then I was able to start modeling and build up my confidence. And I knew modeling was not the end of my road, but I knew I had to face that because it was a huge roadblock for me, was that confidence that I needed to build. So.
And so did you have certain mentors throughout that process? Like who was your first, who would you say your first mentor was?
Andrew Rowe was a photographer. He was a mentor for my confidence for sure. He used to do sessions where he would invite me to the studio and just play music and let me be like free in front of the camera with no one there. And that really helped me to get out of my shell. As far as like business mentors, social media has been able to bring so many amazing people to the forefront, like you for one. I have been so inspired by everything you talk about and teach. Grant Cardone obviously is an amazing person to look up to. Brad Lee, so many amazing influential people that now we can see behind the scenes of their life, and it just fills me with fire. So yeah, many mentors along the way, whether they know it or not.
Well, that's incredible. And so when you went into business, what was that like, and why did you choose the space that you chose?
I was pushed into graphic design. So I'm a graphic designer and web designer. I'm a designer in general. I love art. I've always been creative and artistic out of necessity because I grew up with nothing. So I always had to make something out of nothing. So I've always been artistic. A counselor pushed me into graphic design. I was so against it. I ended up trying it out. I like to see new things. And I did the graphic design. I dropped out of high school. Let me say that. I mean, dropped out of college the first year. Because my mom passed away. And then I totally turned away from design and art completely, went down a really bad path. And then I found out I was pregnant. And my dad said to me, your life is going to be horrible. You are going to struggle because of this. You need to get rid of this child. He was so against it. And I was heartbroken. And I was like, I am going to prove that I am not one to be a statistic. I'm not just going to be some mother on welfare. I'm going to go out there and fight for what I want in life. So I started, my son was born and he was too young to go into daycare, or I didn't even have enough money to get a babysitter to get a job. So I knew I had to use the little bit of graphic design knowledge that I got from that 1 year of school. I started looking up YouTube videos of how to complete the process of the whole graphic design thing, and just started networking on social media, letting people know, hey, I can do your flyers for your restaurant, I can build your menu, I can make your logo. And slowly but surely the clients started trickling in, and it was a long process. I mean, it was just a side hustle for a long time. Last year is when I officially registered it as a business and was like, I'm gonna really scale this thing and make it something bigger.
And so did you have that very first client that gave you a chance, that kind of helped? What, so you want to say their name, or can you say?
Absolutely, yes. So I moved to St. Pete almost exactly a year ago. And before I moved here, I knew that I wanted to get a niche down because graphic design is such a broad world. I needed to be known for something. And since I grew up in the restaurant industry, my parents were chefs, I knew that I wanted to turn to restaurant branding. So I had this idea in my head, this is what I want to start tackling. And I moved to St. Pete because I saw so many restaurants being built, this new development. So when I moved to St. Pete, I met the owner of Five Bucks Drinkery, one of the oldest bars in downtown St. Pete. They're one of the most popular bars here. And I introduced myself and my services, and he was my first client in downtown St. Pete that gave me a chance. He has 3 locations actually. So he has let me get involved with all 3 locations. And it's just, people now know my name in the area for doing that because I've been able to work with him. So shout out to Josh Connell.
That's awesome. Thanks, Josh. No, I think that's important because I think sometimes we forget to thank those people that gave us our break, you know? And, you know, because I think about even me, you know, going into business at 21, and I would set up an appointment with somebody and they, you know, I was 21. What the hell did I know about financial services and investments? And although I was licensed, but I mean, they didn't trust me. They didn't believe in me. They didn't believe I can do it. And so I had this one lady one time, she gave me 25 referrals, and it was the most unbelievable thing that ever happened to me in my life. And that kind of kick-started a lot of stuff that happened. You know, my aunt, she was a secretary at a high school, and she set up a group presentation with all the teachers. So I went in there and I started talking to all the teachers. And you know, of course, clients came from that. And so it's like, you never know, right? You have to be brave enough to ask somebody, give me a shot, give me a break. Because, you know, the one thing I always remember, like, I mean, I've been in business most of my life, but that little period of time where I was just trying to get jobs, you know, from 18 or 16 or whatever till 21 when I started in business. You know, I look back and I go, it's crazy because every time I went to go get a job, they said, well, you need more experience. And I was like, well, how the hell am I going to get experience if you don't give me a chance? How am I going to get the damn experience? Do you relate with that at all? How do you feel about that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you have to just be brave enough, like you said, to get in there and ask for what you want. And I remember that first meeting with Josh, my heart was pounding, and it's like, why do I feel like I deserve this opportunity? You know what I mean? But it's all about that passion that you have behind it and letting people know that you're here for the bigger picture. So yeah, it's scary, but it's super fulfilling on the other side of that fear.
So there's a lot of people going into social media right now, a lot of people doing it way wrong. What are some of the wrong things that people are doing right now?
Just being super direct with sales is so wrong. You have to have a roundabout approach. I think that, at least in my field, and yeah, just being spammy, that's super wrong. Growing a community is what it's all about, whether it's on social media or in real life. You have to have a community of people around you that believe in what you're working for. And the reason that they're gonna believe in you is by your story that you have to tell.
And so the story that you're telling is the significant part, because everybody wants to get on social media and say, buy this, buy this, buy this, buy this product. You need to own this product. And ultimately, I mean, people get turned off by that, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There has to be a why behind everything. Why would somebody even consider spending their hard-earned money with you? They have to trust you, and you build that trust by letting them get to know you. You can't just walk into a bank and say, hand me $20,000. You have to give them your ID, you know what I mean? And pull the money out. You have to prove who you are to people before they're ever going to spend their money with you, for sure.
And so where do you see kind of the marketplace, the social media? I mean, how has this really affected your business, and where do you see it 10 years from now?
It's really interesting because social media has become the bulk of my business right now. So I do the branding for these restaurants, and then I take over their social media accounts. And then I have other accounts that I'm not even doing the branding for, but I'm doing the social media. So social media is a necessity with any business. And I see it definitely evolving into so much more. I think that there's a really strong power in voice. And I think that the future of social media is definitely going to be linked to the wavelengths of our voice. So that's all I can say about that.
What does that mean? Wait. Let's not go past. So what does that mean? The wavelengths of our voice?
So there's vibes that we're letting off in everything that we say and we do. Music is powerful for a reason. It's a vibration that you're feeling. And I think there's a lot of power in our voice and how somebody is connecting with it. So I'm actually developing an app revolved around that concept.
Like the concept of like understanding when you hear if the app hears a certain type of tone, then that will kind of, you know, maybe attract different types of people type thing.
Yeah, it's going to be a social network just focused on the voice. So you're going to be able to follow people's voice stream.
Wow, I like it. Well, that's so cool because, I mean, I'm having a lot of success on social media right now because obviously I recruit. I'm always looking for great people to come into business with me. I have a financial services organization. I have 1,500 licensed agents. We have 46 locations now. And so what's amazing is that, check this out, you're going to love this, right? So I've only been doing real sponsored ads for a couple of months now. Like November I did it, and January I did it. But what's crazy is these people are attracted. Now, it's not just voice, but they're attracted by this little video, this little 2-minute video that I'm throwing out there. And then it's only people in my target area, right? So I'm completely target marketing everything. And then what's happening, Elena, is that it's like we're kindred souls, me and these people. We're like attracted to each other's messages. And it's the weirdest thing. And these are people that in the past, it might have taken me 100 people to find one person like that.
Yeah.
Now, every single person I'm talking to, they're like, I don't know what you're doing, but I love the way you talk and I love what you're doing. And I just feel your energy. Are you getting what I'm saying? Like, does this all make sense a little bit?
Absolutely. It's that connection and that transparency of who you are and what you're working towards and sharing that with the world, whether it be voice, video, imagery, all of that is going to give somebody a feeling. That feeling is going to lead them to want to learn more about you, whether it's clicking on your ad, going to your website, checking out your social media pages. You have to give them a feeling to want to take an action. So yeah, there's so many ways to play with that. And we're living in a world right now where the tools we have at our fingertips are absolutely amazing. The possibilities are endless. And I feel like more people need to jump on that bandwagon for sure.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people, Elena, they're going to get left behind. A lot of people right now, they are just getting, they're going to be dinosaurs in the next 5 years if they don't start using these tools. I mean, people have to hire you so that they can now start to tell the world their story. Because come on, people aren't going to do it by themselves. You know, we need web designers. We need people that can teach us the colors and how the color scheme makes a difference, and kind of keeping your posts consistent and different things that you can play with to do in your imagery of your flyers, or how you communicate with your clients, right? I mean, what other things should we be thinking about doing right now?
Right, absolutely. Imagery and the flow of everything, it's a psychological effect, whether we realize it or not. Subconsciously, our mind is attracted to specific shapes and angles and negative space and colors and specific words and tones. It does something to us based on our experiences in life, everything we've already gone through. We have now a library inside of us holding on all these emotions related to pictures, to colors, to tones. You know what I'm saying? So it's cool. It's really cool.
Well, that's exciting, man. I'm very optimistic, but I've never been this optimistic in my life. I mean, literally, like, I've never felt more excited to be in business right now. I've never felt more like, man, this is the time. Because I built a pretty good business over the last 20 plus years. But I could just see the next 20 years being like out of this world, man. This is like a great time to be alive.
Absolutely. And these social platforms we have are in an essence our portfolio of what we're showing to the world, and you can dress it up any way you want. And that's the beauty in that. It's getting strategic with how you're dressing your portfolio to attract the right clients. And that, like you said about your ad and how you're able to attract those like-minded people, that's laser focused targeting and doing it the right way. It's not about a million people seeing your message. It's about a few key players that are going to feel something with what you have to say.
Totally. All right. So, people are out there and you know what they're thinking. They're thinking, well, Elena, it's easy for Elena, right? She's pretty. So probably she's got a lot of followers because she's pretty. So what do you say to all those haters out there just saying, oh yeah, she's got a lot of followers just because, of that? What do you say to all those people?
I would say that it's actually, it's a hindrance to me to be seen as pretty in the business world. Or at least that was my perspective for a long time, is nobody's going to think I have anything important to say. I'm just some pretty face. You know what I mean? Especially because I came from the modeling world. So the pictures I was putting out of myself were not business. They were more like sexy kind of, hey, look at me pictures. So why would anyone think that I have anything important to say when I'm just showing my body? You know what I mean? So changing the way I presented myself to the public was really key with that. So to the haters saying that I'm just a pretty face and it's going to be easy for me, I have a lot that I have to work through because of the pretty face.
So do you get like a lot of weird DMs?
And yeah, and even clients that want to work with me for ulterior motives, and just understanding that and being able to see it and distance yourself from it.
Are you starting to kind of spot who they are and kind of spot the different situations?
Yeah,
are you getting better at reading it?
It's just about being upfront. Anytime I'm in a meeting with somebody and they mention anything out of business that has to do with the way I look or anything like that, I just bring it right back to business. And I say, listen, just to remind you, we're here for business. Let's get back to business.
I love it. All right. So,
and anyways, I will say to anyone, any females, sorry, go ahead.
That's okay. No. Go ahead.
I was going to say to any females out there that are interested in branching out into the business world, how you dress and present yourself is really key. I try really hard, I even lift this up, to not show much, because that gets minds going in the wrong direction for sure. So just a shout out to all the ladies out there. That's really important. And it took me a long time to figure that out, and it hurt my soul to hear it, but it's so true.
So sometimes you just, I mean, the truth is the truth, right? I mean, sometimes the truth will set you free, and sometimes you just got to live with it. So what other little pieces of advice can you give women? Anything else pop in your mind about, you know, just being a woman in business, things that maybe you see women do wrong that they could fix?
Not so much doing wrong. I just would say any women in business to be bold. It can be very intimidating to walk into a business meeting with a table full of men and you're a little old lady, not old lady, you know what I mean? A little lady sitting in a room full of men. So just be bold and don't be scared and push past the fear.
And how do you push past the fear though? I mean, when you feel like that's your self-esteem, right? You feel that inside. How do you push past that? How do you get past that?
It's all about the dialogue we have in our head. So like I was saying about how I always looked at being pretty as a problem, I recently changed that dialogue in my head and I said, hey, I could use that as an advantage. Just the dialogue that you're telling yourself. If you walk into a meeting thinking that everybody's going to hate what you have to say, chances are everyone's going to hate what you have to say because you already told yourself that. You know what I mean? So just be confident in your head. And when you hear or when you feel those negative thoughts coming through, push them right out. They don't belong there. Thoughts come through. And that's another point I want to make is thoughts flow through us all the time. It doesn't mean they have to stay. We don't have to allow them to make a home in our head.
I love how you talked about it's the dialogue, right? The information that we're telling ourselves is really destructive, man. I mean, we keep talking bad to ourselves. Like, be nice to ourselves. Like, yeah. Be nice. You know, yeah. I get up every day and people think I'm weird, but I go, great things always happen. And that's just something that I say all the time. Like, I'm in the shower and I go, great thing. You're a stud, man. You're a winner. You're a freaking stud, yes. Dude. You know? Yeah.
I love it. And it's been twisted in society for that to be arrogance for some reason. And it's not arrogant. That is survival and how you push through. You have to change the dialogue, and patting yourself on the back or giving yourself pep talks is key for sure.
And I love that, because if I'm talking good to myself and I'm believing, look, it's the law of attraction at work, in my life, all these things. Every day I get up. Now, granted, all right, I still get tickets. Shit happens. Somebody hit my car. You know, bad things still happen to me. I mean, my life's not perfect, right? And great things don't always happen to me. But if I keep saying that and I keep using that as a way for me to create more good things to come in my life. I mean, it's a numbers game, man, right? I mean, you know, total numbers game.
And you actually had a story on your Instagram talking about drowning out the negativity around you. I think is so important. There are so many people that don't even realize how negative they naturally are. And that's a huge reason why I moved away from my entire family. I love them to death, but the dialogue is not always positive. And they didn't always believe in the vision that I had. So I had to distance myself because they were tainting the image I had of myself, of who I was supposed to be. So definitely key, staying away from the negativity.
Love it. All right. So we're getting down to the end here. Discipline. I mean, would you consider yourself pretty disciplined?
Honestly, no, and I'm working on that. I pray for discipline every single day. Still learning.
I love that. I pray for discipline. I love that. I pray for discipline. Yes, that's good. Yeah. It's good prayer to have.
And sometimes when bad things do happen to me, sorry, the signal went out. Sometimes when bad things do happen to me, I think to myself, maybe I'm supposed to learn discipline from this, because I do pray for that discipline. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, discipline is just such an important piece of the whole puzzle, because, I mean, ultimately, you know, when we say we're going to do something and we do it, mm-hmm. and we're disciplined to do it, even though we don't feel like doing it, man, that separates us from the masses, right? And that's the game of business, and the game of success is really separating yourself from the rest of the world and saying, wait a minute, not that the rest of the world is bad, not that everybody's, you know, I don't want to be like but if I'm going to be different, because I know 95% of the world, 99% of the world is not disciplined. 99% of the world does not do what they say they're going to do. So if I could just be a little bit different, using that discipline to help me grow me and the success that I want to have, man, that's a total separation. And people will follow you because of that. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. And it's a lonely world to be extremely disciplined for sure. So like I said, it's something that I'm working on every day, that discipline.
You can do it. I believe in you. I believe in you. All right. So morning routine, what's the morning routine look like?
My morning routine is getting my son ready for school, dropping him off to school. I go and grab my coffee, and then I drive around downtown for about 10 minutes with music on and just clear my thoughts of what my plan is for the rest of the day. My town is full of murals too, so I get inspired by that, which is why I drive through.
Very cool. Yeah, because you're an artist. I saw you painting a mural and one time, so that's really cool. You love painting?
I love it. I want to get more of it.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I don't know if you knew, but I am an artist. So I am an artist. I actually am more or less a cartoonist, actually. Wow. So before I went into financial services, I wanted to start my own comic strip and have my own copyrighted characters and all that kind of stuff. So I've been an artist forever. I love art. But
that is so cool. I never knew that.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that. I can whip out a cartoon character anywhere, so I do that every once in a while. And a lot of people don't know that I'm a break dancer too. I actually know how to break dance. I was one of the originals in the 80s to break dance. But anyways, enough about me. How does faith play a part in your life?
Faith? Faith is everything to me, and it goes back to, again, that dialogue that you're telling yourself is faith, to believe that good things do happen to me every day. That's having faith. You know what I mean? So belief and faith are parallel. It's what has kept me afloat my entire life, is just faith in something better and bigger out there.
That's awesome. Favorite book?
The Celestine Prophecy is my favorite book.
What's that about? I've heard of the title, but I've never read it before. What is that about?
It's about a lost prophecy in Peru, and pretty much explains how the world is just full of energy and you can absorb it from the natural things like trees and birds and stuff like that. But it's a story. It goes into a kind of a narrative.
I love that. Well, you're a law of attraction person, so you believe that we are is energy anyway. So we attract it and we move it around and it flows. It's always flowing, right?
It's everywhere. Yep. Energy is life.
Favorite movie?
Pay It Forward.
Favorite food?
That's a hard one. I guess sushi.
Okay, sushi's good. Ice cream or cake?
Can I have both, please?
So you want the cake and the ice cream. Okay, all right. And then last one is nightly routine. What's your nightly routine?
My nightly routine is actually reading 5 or 6 stories to my son. And then we do lullabies. That's my nightly routine. And that's actually really, really helpful for me, for my soul, is that unwind and not making my nightly routine about business or organizing. It's just giving it all to my son. Helps me fill back up.
Well, I'm very proud to say that I have been reading stories to my daughter. She's 14, and I've been reading stories to her forever. I mean, I probably did the first 10 years of her life every single night reading her some sort of book or making up a story. I was good at making up, crazy stories too. And yeah. And so I think that's cool. You're going to raise an amazing son. You're an amazing mother, I can tell. You're an amazing business person. You have an amazing mind. You are going to do something magnificent in your life. And so just keep pushing forward with that passion, that persistence, and ain't nothing gonna stop you. So, hey, look, just so our audience can connect with you, how do you like them to connect with you? How can we get to know you more?
So I'm super active on my Instagram page at Elaina.Mitchell. I try to do lots of behind the scenes stories and tell you a lot more about my past and where I came from. So that's where you can find me at and learn more.
Awesome. And so, hey, everybody, I just want to remind you all that you need to share this podcast with everyone you know. And if you know anybody in Florida that needs business, or she'll probably do business with anybody anywhere, right? I mean, she'll take business from anywhere in the world. But she does amazing work. I know that firsthand. And but share this podcast, okay? Follow her on her Instagram, follow her on all the platforms. And I just want to remind everybody that we're still signing people up every single week on the Wealth on the Beach podcast, and also the Wealth on the Beach Club. Every single Wednesday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, I do a coaching program, half an hour coaching, half an hour Q&A, and it is going through the roof right now. It's so much fun because I'm on live with these people and I'm getting to connect with people. I'm answering real live questions. It's just a dedicated little group of people that really want to be a part of learning about business, learning about money, learning about financial education, learning about sales, learning about marketing, learning about how to grow their brand. And it's really so much fun. Check out alonzoacademy.com for all the details. And as always, subscribe to my YouTube channel for lots of free content, lots of stuff. I even put up some of these podcasts on the YouTube channel as well. Elena, thank you so much for your time. You have an amazing story. We look forward to watching your journey even more, and we appreciate you so very much.
Thank you so much for having me, Daniel. Continue inspiring millions around the world. You're awesome.
All right, everybody, let's dream bigger, but make sure that we do it now. God bless you.